Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this brand new spoiler review of Season 2, Episode 4, or Chapter 12 of The Mandalorian on Disney+. Before we get to this spoiler fashion review of The Mandalorian on Disney+, please let me know your spoiler thoughts of this episode in the comments section down below. Is this one of your favorite episodes, least favorite? Tell me your favorite parts of the scene. And also let me know what you think future episodes will do. Where will we go next episode? Tell me all your thoughts in spoiler fashion in the comment section down below. Also, please hit that like button. That's a great way to support this channel. So once again, guys, also if you have not checked out this episode of The Mandalorian yet, if you didn't see in the header, this is a spoiler review. I do have the spoiler reviews for the first 3 episodes of this season already on my YouTube channel, so you can definitely check that out as well if you click in the description down below. So there's a whole playlist for me. You'll see at the end of the video as well. They'll be next to my head if you want to check out my spoiler reviews of the other episodes. So first of all, again, spoiler review. Here we go. So this episode was directed actually by the guy who's back in this episode, and that is Carl Weathers, who directed for the first time in this show so far. Obviously, his character, Griff Karga, was a very major factor in the first season, and him and Gina Carano are back. We go back to Navarro this episode because, as you can tell from last episode, Mando needed a ship repair. So the easiest place to go was to Navarro to check in on Griff and Gina Carano's character, Cara Dune. And we're back in Navarro going on another side quest to kill time as Mando's ship is getting repaired. And it's a fun one. Horatio Santos' character, back from the first episode, is back. He's now serving a sentence underneath Carl Weathers, and he's helping them out in this episode as well. Giancarlo Esposito in in-person form is seen at the end of this episode, and it does feel like for the next 4 weeks, it's going to be some really high energy action for the next 4 weeks. Because now we are at the halfway point of the episode. 4 episodes of this whole season have been really side quests. Last episode is one of my favorite episodes, if not my favorite of the entire show so far. But 1 and 3 were side quests that really fit into the overall story. And this one kind of does more than the second one, but still feels a little bit distant, which I'm okay with. We learned more background on what Cara Dune and Griff Karga has been doing since Mando left to take the child to possibly find those other Mandalorians. And after he found out from Bo-Katan last week, he does know where to take that Baby Yoda to, and that is to Ahsoka Tano in Corvus. So which possibly should be next week because Dave Filoni is directing the episode. It's only fair for him to be directing the character that he personally created to bring into life, not just animated, but now he's going to bring her to life in live action form. So that makes total. I knew because Weathers was directing this episode, that would probably bring Weathers and Carano back, and then next episode, which was Filoni, to bring Ahsoka back. So my expectations were not high for us to go right to Corvus and to meet Ahsoka this episode. I knew we wanted a mini side quest and a little bit of how do we get Carano and Weathers back involved, and that was a great way to do it. Just taking a little break from the story to get a little side quest, some great action. Carl Weathers does a good job directing the episode. It's tough to follow such a great act from Bryce Dallas Howard last week, but a very well-directed episode. Again, they get great directors for this show, and Carl Weathers, who I haven't seen direct anything before, did a very, very good job building tension. This episode had a lot of great action scenes, a lot of great jetpack action from The Mandalorian this episode, which I really enjoyed. Just seeing how much Navarro changed in such a short amount of time from when Mando left, where the Empire was kind of running things there. And now there was a school that Carl Weathers dropped the child off into, and that was a funny little 2-minute funny Star Wars bit over there. And he uses the Force to steal the things. But then really the end of the episode where you got to really talk about this episode, we see Dr. Pershing, who had that Camino patch on, him talking about that this place where they were taking over actually was not the place they thought it was. It's actually a lab that they're trying to create these things for the child. And we find the Mandalorian, Carl Weathers, and Gina Carano all find out that basically that message was from 3 days ago, which means that he was talking to Moff Gideon, which means Moff Gideon is still alive. Remember, we all know Moff Gideon is alive, but our main characters who fought him at the last episode of last season still did not know if he survived. And I probably didn't survive in their minds because he fell off the ship. You would assume he would die, but he did not die. So it was a big shocker to them at the end of this episode that Moff Gideon's still alive. And then we find out that one of the people who was working on the Mandalorian ship at the beginning of the episode was actually a part of the Empire with Moff Gideon and put a tracker on the ship. So it seems like we're going to see some Moff Gideon following around the Mandalorian. And that is super, super exciting because now it feels like the story is really picking up. We finally get to physically see Giancarlo Esposito after last episode seeing him in that different format. So in a hologram form last episode. So this show is really picking up. Again, this is not one of my favorite episodes of the show. Not a lot, but it's not really harmful either. If I had to rank the episodes so far this season, I would probably go 3, 1 for sure. Those are easily top tier episodes for the show and definitely this season. And I could really go either way with 2 and 4. There's side quests that don't do a lot. Probably this more because we get to see Carl Weathers and Gina Carano back in the action, some badass fight scenes. But it's still not an amazing episode or anything like that. It's a good episode. It's a great reintroduction to 2 characters that we are very familiar with. But we're about to really get into the main story. And these next 4 weeks are honestly just going to be story because he just went to this planet just to get repairs. Seems like he's on his way to Corvus, which could screw everything up. And we assume Bo-Katan's going to come back. Could Cobb Vanth return as well? And Ahsoka seems like next week we'll see Rosario Dawson as Ahsoka. So again, not a huge pile of episodes, a lot of Easter eggs. Last week was a very rewarding episode for me as a Clone Wars and Rebels fan. But this episode took just a stereotypical, generic, but a fine episode of The Mandalorian. Nothing I hate. It's a solid episode of television. Would I have liked a little bit more emotion and more excitement? Of course. But this episode was just a mini side quest to get Mando in the right position to go on this main quest, which is to find Ahsoka Tano in Corvus. So very exciting stuff in The Mandalorian, really for future weeks. We are now at the halfway point of one of my favorite shows on TV. So guys, before I go with this spoiler review, please hit that like button. Leave me your spoiler thoughts and predictions in the comments section down below. Also, please subscribe and ring that bell for more notifications on future videos on this YouTube channel, possibly watching a new Hulu original movie called Run today, possibly not sure based on my schedule. Could be watching it, so please ring that bell for notifications. One thing, I'll be back with you guys next Friday for sure, doing a spoiler review of the next episode of The Mandalorian. Sunday, there's a new Netflix movie, so we're heading into Thanksgiving week, and there's a lot of movies coming out and shows this coming couple of weeks. So stay tuned to this channel very, very closely for more videos. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys very, very soon.